Today, today for me, night for him, I am interviewing the one and only Avi Gans. Before we get started, do you mind if I play a song?
I don't mind at all.
Hold on, giving me something.
Oh, whoa. Na 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 na.
You know what? Let's get and we play the letter of the song. Let's get into the interview. Where
All
did
right.
you grow up and where do you live now?
I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and I live in Alon Shvut, which is in Gush Etzion in Eretz Yisrael.
Um, where do you go for elementary and for high school?
For elementary school, I was in the Scranton Hebrew Day School, which was the only Jewish school or the only firm school in Scranton at the time. And um, and then for high school, I went to Yeshiva Based Moshe in Scranton for 2 years. And then I went to Yeshiva Tiferes Yisrael in Flatbush for 2 years.
Um, where did you go to base Medrash or did you go to college?
Straight after high school, I went to Yeshiva Far Rockaway, Yeshiva Derech Eson in Far Rockaway, affectionately known as YFR, for 1 year, my first year of base medrash. And then I went back to Yeshiva Tiferes Yisrael for second year base medrash. And after Pesach of that year, which was 2001, I went to the Mir in Yerushalayim, where I stayed for about 5.5 years.
You didn't go to college.
Correct.
Okay. Um, at what age did you start singing and how do you use it in your profession now?
Well, I can't tell you exactly, but I probably started singing when I was, 3, unless you mean in front of a microphone in crowds. Is that what you
No,
mean?
no.
Just singing?
When
Yeah,
you
probably as soon as I was able. And what was the second question?
how do how do you use it in your profession now?
I got it. Um, So the truth is that what I would consider my number one profession is I work in the field of special education, and I've been doing that
Hold
for
on.
25 years.
No,
What?
this is all music related.
No, no, I understand, but I'm saying
Yeah,
if you're saying how do I use it in that part of my profession, if you're saying how do I
yeah,
use singing in my singing career, I think that's a little
yeah.
bit obvious. But if you mean how do I use singing in the rest of my career, um, that is a really good question because maybe I need to incorporate it some more. But the truth is that I don't do so much singing with my other jobs. What kind of music do I incorporate in my music career? Chazanas. Um, I enjoy davening in general. I enjoy that part of my relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and I enjoy davening with kahilas big and small. And sometimes that davening happens to have music, and it's during a weekday, and it's not in shul. But sometimes singing together is another form of tefillah. So I guess you can say that.
Yeah. Um, how did you first get drawn into music, and how did you first get started in music?
Um, well, I first got drawn into music when I was in either ninth or 10th grades. I don't remember. Um, at the time, I played like some keyboard, nothing too special. But a local family, Scranton's a relatively small Jewish community, and a local family was making a bar mitzvah, and they wanted to have music at the bar mitzvah, and they offered me the gig. So that was how I got drawn in. I like that term, and that's really the answer. That's how I got drawn in. That was my first gig. My second gig was their second son's bar mitzvah. My third gig was a second marriage in Scranton, where I grew up. So smaller gigs, but basically that really gave me the confidence to start doing a little bit more of that. And when I went to New York for the second half of high school, that's when I started playing a little bit more frequently. Not terribly often, but I played in the yeshivas band on Rosh Chodesh, Chagigas and Hanukkah and stuff like that. And then I also was doing, bar mitzvahs, shul dinners, stuff like that. So that's how I got drawn
Uh,
in. And then you asked, what was the second part?
how did you get started in music?
So I'm going to tell you how I got restarted in music because I think that might be a more apropos question. Because after that stint for a couple of years, once I moved to Israel to go to yeshiva, I would say that I really was not playing any gigs. I wasn't playing at simchas. I wasn't playing at events. So that restarted probably in 2016 when I was on a reality TV show called The Voice. Um, And even though people like to stress that it was only Israel's The Voice, it wasn't as big as America's, but still it had a rating. Almost half the people in the country saw that episode, which is a lot. That would be the equivalent of, in America, 160 million people. So,
Wow.
so it was pretty memorable for me and for other people. And people started calling and asking me if I was interested. And then most recently, just about a year ago, a tiny bit more than a year ago, my friend Mandy Portnoy said it's time. Mandy Portnoy is a very significant musical producer, and shout out to Mandy and the Thank You Hashem crowd. And Mandy said that it's time, and he wants to produce music with and for me, and taking off from there.
Wow. What kind of theme or message are you trying to promote, and how do you connect with your audience?
Um, I don't know that I'm so actively engaged in promoting a particular theme or a particular message. But if I was, I would say that the song that you played, which was our original release, a little bit after Lag BaOmer last year, closer to Shavuos time, would be that theme or message. And again, I want to be clear. I don't know that I have a theme or message, but if I did, it would be Ivdu Es Hashem B'Simcha, and that there's always a reason to be B'Simcha, and things are going to be okay. And how do I connect with my audience? I don't know. I'm still new to this game. So as best as I can, I enjoy meeting people on and off the stage. So that's why I connect to them.
Okay. Um, what is the your pivotal moment and your musical career that changed everything for you?
So if I have to pick a pivotal moment, the pivotal moment would be that time that I was on The Voice, December 21, 2016. Um, the response was enormous and not at all something that I was expecting. And while that lasted for a good couple of years, there were also a good couple of years in between before I started making music with Mendy, but I would say that was the pivotal moment.
Okay. Um, how many singles or albums do you have out now?
Well, the good news is that you don't even need to use two hands to answer that question. But we released four singles, and then Thank You Hashem. I had the unique privilege of putting out one of Thank You Hashem's iconic live sessions that came out right before Sukkot. And then for Hanukkah, we released an EP, which is like a shorter album of 6 tracks. So that's the answer. We released City of My Dreams, which is a cover on Hafachta by Diaspora Yeshiva Band. We released Adir Hu with the great Michael Bogart on trumpet. Uh, and we released a short unplugged version of Baruch HaMakom for the Pesach Seder. And we released the song that we've been talking about, which is Ivdu. Those were the singles. And then again, Thank You Hashem live session, and the album title for the Hanukkah drop was Let It Shine.
Wow. Um, when you're not performing, what do you do?
Ah, so that's what I was referring to before. When I'm not performing, I do everything else. I daven, I eat, I learn, I teach. But my full-time employment, I'm Baruch Hashem a father to five. um, and a wife, a husband to one wife. Um, and but my full-time employment is I run a special ed post-high school yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael called Yeshiva Darkenu.
Um, what is the volcano? What is it all about?
Darkenu is about giving everybody a chance to spend a year learning in yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael, or seminary. We have a girls program, we have a girls seminary, we have a boys yeshiva. And for guys who, for one reason or another, if there's an academic challenge or a developmental challenge, wouldn't do well or even wouldn't be accepted to a mainstream yeshiva. So then they can apply to Darkenu and hopefully spend a meaningful year or two in yeshiva with us.
Wow. Um, how do you use your faith in your music?
How do I use my face in my music?
Faith.
Oh, my
Faith.
faith. Because I was going to say, if
Yeah.
I didn't have to use my face in my music, it might be better. Um,
Okay.
um, my faith in my music. Well, I'd start by saying that I don't think that I have it. I don't think there's such a thing as my music. I think the music is out there and it's just for somebody to convey it. The simplest portrayal of that is how radio works, right? The music is produced somewhere else and it gets sent through radio waves, or these days it's very often internet waves. It gets sent through the air, and basically what you need is the right instrument, right? A radio or a cell phone or a computer that's going to play that music. So the music's already there and something just has to express it. And I would say that I believe it's the same thing with singers. I don't like to think of myself as an entertainer, but somebody who's sharing the music's out there in the air. And even if I, write something new or I produce something new that someone else wrote, it was there the whole time. It's simple math. That's how music works. But believing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created everything and that it's there for us to enjoy. So then I get to be the catalyst in the same way that a person can use their skills to, I don't know, to bake a delicious cake or to teach an interesting idea or to, cure a disease. So then, you can use your skills to find out what's already in the Bria and do something good with it.
Okay. Um, what's your favorite part of the creation process?
Hmm. I like watching Mendy create. That's my favorite part. Watching somebody else do it. Again, I just see myself as a conduit. I'm not trying to be overly deep, but that's really what it is. So watching somebody else take the raw materials and turn them into something amazing, I love it.
Okay. What is your favorite song of your music?
My favorite song is a song that I wrote called Hevel Havolim. The words were written by Shlomo HaMelech, and that's my favorite song. That hasn't been released yet. I play it when I play live shows, but we haven't produced that formally, and that's my
Oh,
favorite song.
okay. Um, who did you get inspired by, both Jewish and non-Jewish singers, to start singing?
So again, to start singing probably happened when I was a child. So you don't mean that. If you mean who are my inspirations in the Jewish music world, I'd say two very strong ones are my friend Mordechai Shapiro and my I guess you could say mentor, even though we've only met about a half a dozen times, um, Yonatan Rizal,
Hold
Shlita.
on, Jonathan Rizal.
Yeah,
Um, we need to speak after. Are you friends with Mordechai Shapiro?
I am.
Good friends.
Everything's relative. I can upset him for you if you want.
um, let's speak after. We need.
All
Um,
right.
why did
Oh,
you
but you said who's
decide?
non-Jewish? Stevie Wonder is my non-Jewish inspiration. And then strictly musically, nothing to do with his personality or anything about the way he carries himself. Buddy Guy and BB King, but they're both not necessarily people we should be more like. But I appreciate their music very much.
Yeah. Why did you decide to become a singer?
I don't know that I decided. I think it just happened, and I was willing to go along with the flow.
Hmm, okay. Um, are you coming out with any new stuff?
Right now, I guess we could say we're on a small pause, but God willing, there'll be new things coming at some point in the next few months. Small pause because we're building a show. Amir Hashem, I'll be performing with Mendy next week. We have three big nights in a row, so we haven't been producing anything, and he's been very busy in his own right. But Amir Hashem, working on getting the vibe out there. We'll see what happens in the near future.
Yeah. Um, what's the most rewarding part about singing? Your singing. Of singing, yeah.
Cashing the check.
Eh,
Uh,
everything is about money.
no. What's the most rewarding part about singing? I'll tell you, this is something that, it sounds a little cliche, but everybody's got these stories. you never know what happens. For me, it's almost I don't want to say exclusively, that's the wrong word, but maybe inevitably, it's a davening story. But whether I'm davening or I'm singing, and somebody says, "Oh, there was going through a rough moment, and I played your song on repeat," or we were having a long drive, and all the kids settled down when we put that song down, when we put that song on the playlist, or davening together, and I never had it mean, I never understood what the words meant until we davened them together. So I guess, that's what it is. Again, right place, right time, nothing that I particularly do or am in control of.
Okay. Um, who did you who did you record with, and who did you perform with on stage so far?
Okay. Um, I recorded with Mike Bogart, and that's pretty much it. Although that Dayenu, meaning like he is fantastic. He's a fantastic person. He's a fantastic talent. That was great. So that was the Adler Who song that we put out. Um, Beyond that, who have I performed with? So that really over the years, excuse me, because like I said, I've been singing on and off for a really long time. I've been on stages with, I don't know, Yaakov Shweki, Mordechai Ben David, Avram Fried, Mordechai Shapiro. Um, who else have I sung with? Chazan Ben Zion Miller, Olav Shalom, um, Joey Newcomb. Um, I don't know. I don't want to say the list goes on and on, but the list goes on.
Okay. At what age did you start performing live in front of people?
I'd say 2016, The Voice. So, I don't know, 34.
Okay. How do you come up with your songs?
Hmm. So Hevel was something that I sat down to write, and I worked hard on it, and I tried to feel each note and feel where I wanted to go and try everything out. Other than that, there's been other things that I've written that I wasn't really so into, and it was more just, um, trial and error, just see if something would stick, not knowing if that was going to be something that I really liked or not. Um, but I don't write lyrics, so it has nothing to do with like an inspiration to come up with an idea. Occasionally, some of the songs that I've written, none of which were produced yet, were after a particular incident. Somebody was struggling, or there was a terror attack, or all of those things. But I haven't written that much music.
Um, what what countries have you performed in?
Um, Israel, America, Canada, Australia, France, Germany, and I believe that's it.
Okay. Um, what is your favorite type of gig?
My favorite type of day?
Gig.
Gig. Sorry. My favorite type of gig. Um, I enjoy a gig where everybody's enjoying themselves, not a sit-down concert, but where people, where it's nice and intimate. Small jazz club is great. Bungalow colony, something like that.
Okay. Um, wait. Last question. What would of inspiration do you have for the world?
Hmm. I'm not an inspirational person. You're asking the wrong guy. So I don't know what to tell you. Inspiration? I don't know. Keep on chugging.
Um, I would like to thank you for coming on. Thank you for your time. Thank you for letting me interview you. And we will speak in